there's been some kind of weird, purposeful gutting of the economy, with the pandemic, of course, but globally, and it's really continuing. This is combined with a refugee crisis. So there's been some sort of purposeful movement of human populations. What we're seeing today in France, for example, is this is just blowing up. It's just going off because there's no attempt to provide stabilizing economic measures for the indigenous population or the population that's native to those areas. Instead, they're thrust into extreme precarity, and I'm afraid that this is all leading to more right-wing, extreme right, when the neoliberal economic government just starts to fall apart. What we see is that faux populist demagogues from the right tend to rise. And what's really maybe going to happen in France is that Marie Le Pen is going to rise after these days of riots and people going in and taking children and women out of buildings and threatening them, beating them, all this kind of, it's just crazy. It's way beyond anything we could imagine, what we would call a riot. And people are afraid to describe the real dynamic of what it is, but it's happening. But what could happen is a real backlash from a kind of a far right, so people need to figure out ways to actually take care of their populations, but that doesn't seem to be the agenda. There seems to be like a global agenda of destabilization, a gutting of resources that provide stability, keep communities together, and so then that leaves them open to different types of rule, different types of measures. And we've seen how willingly people went along with measures that made no sense, that took away their liberty. And really, I think this could be cast in racial terms. What people would be keen to talk about this in terms of, white supremacists trying to hold on to their privilege or something like that. But another way to frame it is that Western countries, European countries, American countries, Western countries that have adopted a certain standard of liberty for the citizens, certain rights, that is actually the target of whatever these forces are, these global forces that are destabilizing everything right now. The target of it is that liberty. The expectation that if you work hard and play by the rules and of your country, that you can expect a certain degree of liberty, to not be maliced by that country or forced to do things by that country and so forth. So basically liberty, your personal liberty. This seems to be the target. And that was kind of the rhetoric during the pandemic. It's sort of like, yeah, even though we now know that the vaccines don't work, don't stop the spread, the populations that are vaccinated are spreading as much or even more than the populations that are unvaccinated. This is scientifically proven. Doesn't matter. The mandate for everyone to take it, and for children to take it, and for pregnant women to take it, and for all this, that just continues, and then there's no resistance. And the people that question or resist are called racist, bigots, and so forth. So the target is liberty. That's what's happening. There's a global movement against stable communities for working class people and against personal liberty. That's the way I interpret what's happening in France right now, what I see happening in America, why there's just homeless people, neglected people just wandering around everywhere, just crazy. There's no help for them. All this money goes to 501c3s and nonprofits to help them. The money doesn't go to the people who need it themselves. Sometimes it does, but in like chunks and weird ways and instability, not ways that provides them with what would be called affordable housing. There's no affordable housing that a person with low credit score and just kind of a minimal income can just kind of move in and just pay rent somewhere, affordable housing. That doesn't exist. Instead, there's a weird shelter thing that's very draconian. You can't take your partner there, you can't take your dog there, you can't have any possessions. You can just kind of move in and be abused by somebody there, or you live on the street. That's kind of your choices when you get down to a poor situation, when your credit's bad. And no one seems to care. There's no movement, there's no money being spent on actual affordable housing. There's like forces, real estate forces that are against that. There's some kind of force that keeps preventing us from getting affordable housing. When it comes to healthcare, it comes to you just being able to have a doctor, not a insurance plan, not be a member of a private equity firm that's gouging you, but actually just go to a doctor that cares for you. A doctor that's not trying to push any drug or any agenda. He's just, hey, my goal is just to help my patients. See, that's been taken away too, and everybody can feel it. So that's part of the destabilization of the community at the community level. And again, the target is liberty, personal liberty, and community stabilization for working class people. They don't want working class people to feel that they're safe, that there's no precarity, that they're going to be taken care of, that there's resources and they're fine. They don't want people to feel that way. They want them to feel panicked and ready to accept draconian, top-down, centralized control measures.